The Fisherman's Coin. An old coastal tale. The old fisherman along the coast had a saying, "The sea remembers every promise ever made to it." Most people laughed when they heard it. After all, the sea was just water. Waves, currents, and tides. It couldn't remember anything. But every now and then, the sea had a strange way of proving people wrong. Every morning, long before the sun reached over the horizon, Elias Harper walked down to the old wooden dock. For nearly 40 years, he had made his living from the water. He knew every rocky shoal, every hidden current, and every place where fish gathered after a storm. Elias was not a wealthy man. He never had been, but he had enough. Enough food on the table, enough wood for the stove, and enough stories to keep the regulars at the tavern entertained on a rainy evening. To Elias, that was wealth. Before pushing away from shore, he looked out across the quiet water. "Morning," he said. He always greeted the sea, not because he expected an answer, but because good manners cost nothing. The first few hours were quiet, the kind of quiet only the ocean can provide. Elias pulled in his first net expecting the usual catch. A few fish, maybe a crab or two. Instead, he found something unusual tangled in the rope, a silver coin. He picked it up and studied it carefully. It wasn't shiny like a new coin. Its surface was worn smooth, as if it had spent years being carried by the sea. On one side was the carving of a ship unlike any vessel Elias had ever seen. On the other, a circle surrounded by waves. "No king's face," he muttered. "No numbers either." He turned it over in his hand. Then he noticed something strange. The coin was freezing cold, colder than the ocean water dripping from his net. Elias frowned. Well, someone's pocket got lighter. With a small shrug, he tossed the coin back into the sea. It disappeared beneath the waves. Elias watched for a moment. Then he laughed at himself. "You're getting old." The sea was not interested in old fishermen wondering about lost coins. There were fish to catch. The next morning, Elias returned to the same spot, the same boat, the same breeze, the same quiet water. He pulled up his first net, 2 fish, a broken piece of an old trap, and sitting perfectly in the center of the net, the silver coin. Elias stopped. He stared at it. Slowly, he looked back toward the water where he had thrown it. Impossible. But there it was. He picked it up. Same markings, same strange cold feeling. He looked around. No boats nearby. No one watching. Just him and the sea. The old fisherman scratched his beard. "I've seen stranger things." He paused. Actually, no, I haven't." He chuckled. Then he threw the coin as far as his old arm could manage. It flew through the morning air and disappeared into the waves. "There," Elias said. "If you come back after that, you've earned the ride." That evening, Elias sat outside his small home overlooking the bay. The lighthouse beam slowly swept across the dark water. He held his coffee in both hands and found himself staring toward the ocean. "Got me thinking about a silly coin." He shook his head. "Imagine that." The waves rolled gently against the shore. No answer came, only the sound of the water, and somehow that was answer enough. The following morning, before sunrise, Elias pushed his boat away from the dock. He cast his first net, waited, then pulled. Fish, seaweed, an old broken oar, and resting neatly among the ropes, the silver coin. This time, Elias didn't laugh. He didn't shrug. He simply picked it up and stared. The cold metal rested in his palm, waiting, almost as if it had been waiting for him. Elias looked out across the endless water. Then he quietly said, "All right, you've had your fun." He slipped the coin into his coat pocket. "Tomorrow, I'm keeping you." The old fisherman turned his boat toward shore, and behind him, the sea remained perfectly still. To be continued.